Hello, and welcome back to the Emerging Path podcast. I'm your host, Miss Brooke Todd. It's Monday, it's Labor Day, new week, new month, September 1st. Hope you're all enjoying your day off. Speaking of which, you may or may not hear the neighbors playing the pool. So I did close the door, but I do have the windows open. So, yeah, we're just going to roll with it. Apologies for no podcast this past Friday. I know that was a commitment I had made, but I did post 3 episodes. I just posted one on Saturday, the beginning, and then Monday, and then Wednesday. And then honestly, I was just really tired and exhausted and had 3 days off and just needed to kind of recoup from the excitement of the energy output of launching my podcast. And I did record one Friday, but it just felt like really forced, and I just felt like I was just talking to talk, and I don't want to do that. So I decided not to post it and to just give myself permission to rest, and just do better next week and set myself up for success. And those are kind of the themes that we're talking about today. So I had a very nice, relaxing 3-day weekend. Spent some time at the beach, as you may see by the color. And I kind of want to start with Saturday night. I think it was Saturday. I was watching sunset at local beach park, and I felt called to practice a little bit of yoga, and I was going to and I did some journaling, but while I was practicing yoga, I was practicing my headstands, and I'm a little rusty because I haven't been doing them, but the foundation is there, right? And then I happened to look up, and there was probably a 4 or 5-year-old little boy who was watching, and then he asked his mom to help him do a headstand, and it was so cute. And I happened to look up and see it, and then she saw me looking. I just smiled and gave a thumbs up, and it just kind of goes to show that just by being playful and by being yourself is enough to show up in the world. And you never know who's quietly watching or who you're quietly inspiring to try something new. So for example, with this podcast, I'm starting it, right? I launched it. Now I'm continuing to get the reps in, but now the next step is talking about it and marketing and putting myself out there. And last night at work, I actually had, and I talked about it also, I play beach tennis, which is super fun. And we had a little potluck barbecue for Labor Day weekend. And I talked about it to some of the people there. And it was really cool because also this couple from Australia, they live here and live there, on and off months or whatever. And it was their first week back. And I remember talking to them about starting the podcast before they left. And I just started it a week ago. And it's just a little ironic that I happened to launch it, and continue doing it and posting. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. I get to actually tell them I did it. So that was just a little proud moment that I had for myself. And then I also talked about it with a friend, and he watched it. So you know who you are. And it's just cool to actually start something and then do it, and now be proud and be talking about it, even though I'm at the very, very beginning stages, and part of it is going to be clunky and awkward, but I just need to get the fuck over that and just keep doing it. So yeah, and I also wanted to read a little positive quote of the day, and it's also funny because yeah. So anywho, well, to circle back, I had this awesome table last night. The Perlman family. So hey, hopefully you're watching still. But yeah, we just like genuinely connected, and we just like had really beautiful conversation about God and divine timing, and just how like nothing is an accident. And it was just like really inspiring to like also, again, like they were the first table that like I shared my podcast with. So that was really cool. And then yeah, and we just like had really fun conversation talking about life and God and the path and source and whatever you want to call it. I don't say that to undermine the power of the word God. It's more to like be inclusive, because God used to be a really triggering word for me. And yeah, I just want to hopefully capture whoever wants to listen to this. Anywho, so I've had the urge to read. I don't read this all the time, but it's called Positive Thinking Every Day, an Inspiration for Each Day of the Year by Norman Vincent Peale. He's the author of The Power of Positive Thinking, and today's quote for September 1st is, the conscious mind may suggest sickness, even death, but 9/10 of your mind is in the subconscious. Let the picture of health sink into the subconscious, and this powerful part of your mind will send forth radiant health energy. I may have to let my cat in. No, I think she's going to chill on the lawn chair. Sorry, I shut the door and she's hanging out on the lanai. And she's very stubborn and doesn't want to be locked out. So you may have to hear the kids playing at the pool. We shall see. But it's funny because talking about kind of being silently inspiring to people, you just like never know who's watching. And this was given to me on April 2nd of 2021. And during this time, I was waitressing at the airport in the Salt Lake City airport. And if you're familiar of 2021, that was when we were wearing masks. And I'm not going to say the word because I feel like that's a flagged word. And so, yeah, times were masked and tensions were high. And if you're unfamiliar with Utah, Utah has a very strict drinking laws. And at this point in time, they were not serving alcohol on flights yet. They had stopped serving it. And then we would have people landing in Utah and wanting to get a double or ordering multiple shots at a time, what have you. And that is illegal in the state of Utah. So it was just a very stressful time because we were in unprecedented times and just people didn't know how to react, which is obviously understandable. And then to add the layer of being in an airport, which adds a whole nother layer of stress. Because, you never know why somebody is traveling. It could be for a family emergency, medical emergency. Maybe they're going for a funeral, or it's for work or business, whatever. Or it's their first vacation and they're super anxious because they've never been on a plane before. Or just like there's so many added variables. And, and the airport isn't always the funnest place to be if you're an anxious person. Anywho, this was written to me because I was interacting with a guest and I'm very sarcastic and I love to make jokes. And this gentleman, I don't remember what was said, but I just made him laugh. And he then told me that his father had just passed away, and that's why he was traveling, was coming back from either going to see him or was seeing him, whatever. And he just wanted to say thank you because that was the first time he had laughed since dealing with all that shit. And I just made him feel like a human again and gave him permission to be happy and like have a moment of solace. I don't know if that's the right word, like a moment of relief. And turns out somebody else was watching this interaction and didn't quite know what had happened. And turns out he was a writer, and this is what he wrote me. So again, that kind of like silent inspiration, like you don't know who's watching. So he wrote, Brooke, a lovely smile during mass times, yet friendliness, sincerity, and laughter will show. A few brief words reveals this one thought, an ability to do the job coupled with a bright charm that fuels and ignites and intrigues I haven't read this in a very long time. Your path may seem evident, but is curious to me. I wish you nothing but the closest match to your best dreams of life and love and understanding. What else can we expect and hope for? This just from a smile and sarcastic words to a someone. You're a lovely human. And I've kept this as a reminder, as a token, because working in the service industry is not for the faint of heart. And you have to learn to deal with a lot of emotions and a lot of humans. And learning how not to let it get to you. And it's just kind of funny that he put the word path in there, and now I'm talking about it on my podcast called The Emerging Path. So sorry. We will let that pass. Let's have a little coffee break, shall we? So yeah, and to kind of like circle back to today's themes, I kind of want to talk about being reactive versus proactive in life. And trust me, just preface, I'm not saying all of this stuff like I have my life figured out. I certainly do not. The path is emerging, it's unfolding. These are just lessons that I'm learning, have learned, and will continue to learn and reinforce, hopefully, in my life. So I was listening to a podcast. I went for a walk this morning on the beach, and it's the weekly energy boost. It's based in Kabbalah, and they were talking about being reactive versus proactive. And in life, like, it's the school of life, right? Like, life is fucking hard. Like, we get that like I was talking about with the Perlman family last night, you get the test and you don't get the answers until you've completed the test, and it's fucking frustrating and it's irritating. But what are ways that you can be proactive about the test? Or like, is it a pop quiz that you didn't see coming in life? Or is it something that you saw in the syllabus and you're like, shit, I know I'm going to have to deal with this, but you're still ignoring it? Or maybe you've studied and you prepared for it, but there were still a couple of questions that tripped you up. But for the most part, you did really well because you were prepared. You were proactive. And that's kind of like life, man. And like, of course, like there's always going to be speed bumps. There's always going to be twists and turns. Maybe a tree's going to fall down in the middle of your path that you didn't see coming. But maybe it's redirecting you to somewhere better or somewhere else that you need to focus on in your life, for you to complete your lessons in this lifetime. And with that, and kind of like talking about the service industry and like kind of tying it all together, is like building your toolbox. Like, what are you doing to help yourself? And what tools do you have access to right now that can help you. Maybe it's going for a walk and like calming your nervous system. Maybe it's going out into nature and grounding, and or maybe it's lighting your Palo Santo and your sage. Or maybe it's having cards or something positive to help you in moments of where you're starting to spiral. Or maybe it's calling a friend for a pep talk. Or maybe it's breath work. Or maybe it's EFT tapping. Or like, use the internet, man. Like, there's so much information and resources that is free. It's honestly like, being ignorant is a choice at this day and age. And I'm not trying to like be mean, but what can you do to help yourself? Like, there's podcasts there, like, find what works for you. But the key is it needs to work for you. You can't, like, yeah, you can use other people's paths and stories and tools as a guide, but ultimately you are your own recipe in life. Like, you require certain ingredients. You require a certain amount of time to cook or bake or fry. You require, maybe you need to be on an open flame on a barbecue, or maybe you need to be cooked in the oven. I don't know, but only you know that, and you need to experiment and figure that out for yourself. This isn't a one size fits all for life, and that's kind of the beauty of life, is having variety and, yeah, the spice of life, right? I feel like we're going to kind of like microdose today's episode. I feel like that's kind of all I wanted to talk about today. And I'm not going to like force this to be like a certain amount of time. Again, I'm just experimenting and figuring out what works for my podcasting style, and what's resonating with my listeners and my followers. So please like and subscribe. Share this with somebody. That would be super helpful. And maybe we should end it on pulling a mana card. I love this deck and I love learning. So let's see what we got. I pulled T card, number 17. So let us see what this lesson is. I don't think I've pulled this card before. The tea plant, purification. So the chant is in English. I'll get brave someday and learn and practice speaking the chants in Hawaiian. But for now, take away all great faults and all small faults. Throw them into Moana Nui Kai U'u, the great ocean. In Hawaii, tea leaves have been used in wrapping food for cooking, thatching roofs, making sandals, and treating illness. It is customary to wrap a rock with a tea leaf as an offering at waterfalls. This is a ho'ukupu, which means offering, to the sacredness of the waterfall. All waterfalls are the waters of Kani and a symbol of life. It is believed that a tea offering will prevent rocks from falling on your head while you are bathing in the falls. Tea leaves are sometimes worn as wreaths or pads to protect menstruating women. It is also planted around homes to protect the residents from evil spirits. Kahuna priests would carry a stalk of tea into a battle as a flag of truce. Tea can relieve pressure and facilitate healing. The leaves of the tea plant are used to relieve headaches and constipation as well as to bandage wounds. Tea leaves are always used in hula and religious rituals because it is believed that they have the power of purify and protect one from evil. In the purification ritual called pi kai, to sprinkle seawater, tea leaves are used to sprinkle ground olenina, which is turmeric, mixed with seawater to remove taboos and any negative influences. Another purification ritual is called kapu kai, which involves a ceremonial bath taken in the sea or salt water while reciting prayers. The bath removes impurities and improves health. Interpretation. Tea leaves offer protection and purification. Hawaiian purification rituals use salt water, the same substance that tears are made of. Sometimes there's nothing better than a good cry to help restore your ability to think clearly. Purification is needed when negative influences, whether physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual, block your progress. Protection and purification are inseparable. The day of the purification is called the La Hui Kala. The relationship between protection and purification is exemplified in the Hawaiian word kala, meaning among the many meanings of kala are to loosen, unite, free, release, remove, unburden, absolve, let go, acquit, take off, undo, to proclaim, announce, to forgive, pardon, excuse, to substitute for. Kala is also used to refer to counter sorcery, or a prayer to free one from any evil influence. Purification ensures protection from negative and harmful influences. Purification operates at the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. Physical purity requires a healthy diet, adequate exercise, and rest in a clean environment. If something is blocking you from achieving a state of physical purity, now may be the time to make a change. Emotional purity requires making sure that your deeds and words are genuine. This involves simplicity, straightforwardness, and honesty. If you are holding onto grudges or resentments, then now may be the time to release them. Mental purity is the result of clear intention. Spiritual purity results from focusing on the highest good. Use the purification of tea to release anything that keeps you from shining brightly, and your cares will fall away like water down a mountain. That was sweet. A couple of things that kind of like stuck out was cleaning up your environment, which I did a deep clean of my studio over the weekend, and I got some rest and ate some really good food. Random tidbit, but sure, okay. But anywho, I think that concludes today's episode. Short and sweet, but potent. I hope you have a great start to your week, great start to your month, and, who may you be silently inspiring just by doing you. And what else did we talk about? Reactive versus proactive, and building your toolbox. So I encourage you to experiment with building your toolbox and finding different tools to help you be more proactive in life instead of reactive. Thank you, and I shall see you all on Wednesday.